When we first arrived in Denmark, everything felt so unfamiliar and difficult. I remember landing at Copenhagen Airport, faced with the cold weather and a series of inconveniences, feeling utterly helpless. We stood on a frost-covered asphalt road, our ears stinging from the cold, and there was no one we could rely on. At that moment, there was nothing like the feeling of a new year, new me. Instead, it was more like, wow, this is gonna suck. Looks like it's time to get serious. On our first night in Copenhagen, we stayed at the Legoland Hotel. The blonde receptionist greeted us with a smile and said, "Welcome to the Legoland Hotel." He assigned us a princess suite. Feeling hopeful, I asked, "Is this like a presidential suite?" The receptionist chuckled and explained, "No, it's a themed room. There's a pink bed with a castle turret made from Lego bricks at the headboard." Seeing the design, all I could say was, "Oh, well, that's unique." The receptionist proudly added, "This suite was built with 11,960 Lego bricks, and it has bunk beds too." He was clearly very proud. The next day, we began exploring Denmark, experiencing the cold and silence that comes with it. Snow fell heavily, turning from the soft flakes we see in movies into a white, endless world, as if a child were furiously shaking a snow globe. The sky seemed to open up, pouring snow in all directions. We had no choice but to return to the hotel and wear every piece of clothing we had to stay warm. In Denmark, hygge is a very important way of life. It's a tricky word to translate, but it roughly means comfort and cozy moments. Many Danish families spend cold winters at home, lighting candles and enjoying this sense of warmth. As we walked through the streets, we saw many windows glowing with candlelight, people savoring their hygge moments. Danes don't just love candles. They associate hygge with food and weather too. Bakeries, dinners with friends, even bad weather. These are all part of hygge. When the weather is terrible, Danes stay home, light candles, eat something delicious, and sip a glass of wine. In the UK, people might go to the pub to socialize, but in Denmark, folks prefer to gather at home with friends and family. Danish design also ties closely to hygge. Danes are very particular about home decor. They love natural materials and handcrafted furniture. Many Danish homes are filled with wood and leather, and their lighting is carefully planned. Rather than just hanging a light in the middle of the ceiling, they use various lamps to create cozy hygge corners. When we first got to Denmark, we knew almost no one, and we didn't speak Danish, which made life a bit tough. Danes are very environmentally conscious. Being green isn't just a trendy thing, it's a basic social responsibility. Yet beyond this environmental awareness, we felt a sort of invisible wall between us and the locals. We had assumed that since Denmark is often called the happiest country in the world, everyone would be warm and welcoming. But that wasn't entirely true. The cost of living in Denmark was also overwhelming for us. Things are expensive here, especially anything related to cars. Winter tires, registration tax, environmental tax. They're all unavoidable expenses. We once spent 5,000 DKK on winter tires, just to avoid sliding into a ditch in the cold winter. It seemed like a huge amount of money, but in those conditions, it was a necessary expense. As a freelancer in Denmark, life feels pretty unique. You can wear pajamas and slippers, moving freely between your bed and your computer, without a fixed schedule. Here, 4 p.m. feels like the new 7 p.m. Traffic starts to build up, and I haven't even begun my afternoon's work. Danes work very short hours, only 37 hours per week, one of the shortest work weeks in Europe. And truth be told, they often only work about 34 hours. Despite the short hours, Danes take their work very seriously. They even have a word for it, arbeidsglæde, which means joy at work. It's a big deal in the Nordic countries. Danes fully commit to their jobs because they see work as an important part of life, which helps them feel happy at work. Even if they won the lottery, 57% of Danes would still choose to keep working. Danes get 5 weeks of paid vacation every year, plus 13 national holidays. That means they only need to work 18.5 days a month. Still, their productivity is impressively high. Studies have shown that when employees are happy, their productivity can increase by 12%. Denmark not only ranks as the happiest workforce in the EU, but also excels in employee motivation and productivity. The work culture in Denmark puts a huge emphasis on balance between life and work. Even though their work hours are short, Danes really enjoy their jobs and always give it their best effort. Even during tough economic times, Danes remain optimistic. Studies show that 70% of Danes would continue working even if they didn't need the money, because they see work as part of life. However, with increasing competition in the workplace, some Danes are feeling the pressure. A study found that 1 in 10 Danish employees often feel stressed at work, especially in large companies. The influx of immigrants and highly educated talent has also added to the stress for locals. Facing this, I had to ask myself, should I be like the Danes and strive for a better balance between work and life? I had left an enviable job to come to Denmark and become a freelance writer. The idea of working less scared me at first, but I gradually learned to let go of the constant stress from my inbox and began to enjoy my evenings. I'd walk the dog in the woods, chat with my husband, and life went on, simple but full of happiness. In the UK, our social lives were always packed. We had tons of friends and family we wanted to see but never had the time. But when we got back to Denmark, we found ourselves with more free time and fewer people around, which left us feeling a bit empty. Especially for Lego Man, he felt a bit lost in this whole work-life balance thing. We had 134 hours of free time to fill, and he had no idea how to spend it. Danes love to join clubs, associations, or societies, pursuing hobbies together. This tradition goes way back. Moderate exercise helps reduce the risk of depression and promotes mental health. The government actively supports these club activities. For those under 25, starting or joining a club means access to free venues and facilities, with subsidies to help. Even for those over 25, local municipalities usually offer free venues. Currently, Denmark has around 80,000 clubs, and 90% of Danes are part of various associations. On average, each person belongs to 2.8 groups. Lego Man and I tried to fit in too. We joined various hobby clubs: volleyball, handball, Danish language classes, yoga, cooking clubs, and even a sewing class. Each day had a different activity: volleyball and handball on Mondays, Danish night school on Tuesdays, local yoga on Wednesdays, cooking club with friendly neighbors on Fridays, and sewing lessons on Saturdays. These club activities gave me a sense of home in Denmark. Now, I wasn't just Lego Man's wife or the British woman who just moved here. I became the alto in the choir, or the one who called the teacher a bitch in Danish class. Beyond these roles, I found a sense of belonging. One day, our friendly neighbor invited us to see cows dancing. I was puzzled. How can cows dance? It turns out it's a local tradition. Every spring, after the cows have been cooped up inside all winter, farmers let them out to frolic. The cows run into the fields, jumping and leaping as if they're dancing. The next day, we went to see it for ourselves. The barn doors slowly opened and dozens of cows ran out, but they didn't seem too interested in dancing. Although a few cows skipped a bit, most of them quickly turned back and ran into the barn. We stood there, a little disappointed. Thankfully, our neighbor pulled out his phone and showed us last year's YouTube video. In the video, the cows were leaping and hopping all over the place, truly putting on a show. In Denmark, while people are very kind to animals, they still see them as animals, not humans. Pets, like dogs, might be an exception, but most Danes have a practical view of animals. Denmark is the world's largest exporter of mink fur, and hunting is widely accepted as a leisure activity here. Denmark is a country that leads the way in gender equality. As early as 1875, Danish women could attend university. The Nordic countries were among the first to grant women the right to vote, with Denmark achieving this in 1915. Today, Denmark has made significant progress in gender equality. In 1973, Denmark legalized abortion, and in 1976, equal pay became law. Denmark's employment policies focus heavily on equal opportunity, giving women more choices in the workplace. Parental leave in Denmark is very generous. Parents of newborns can enjoy 52 weeks of leave, and the remaining time can be divided freely between both parents. 78% of Danish mothers return to work after having children, supported by government-subsidized childcare that takes away many of their worries. Moreover, Denmark's workplace culture is incredibly flexible, allowing women to easily balance career and family. Danish men also take on more responsibility for housework and childcare. According to research by the OECD, Men in Nordic countries are more involved in household chores and childcare than men in other countries. This idea of gender equality is deeply ingrained, and Danish children are free to choose their toys, whether it's a Barbie doll or a train set, without being limited by gender. Midsummer's Eve is a big deal in Denmark, where people light bonfires to celebrate St. John's Day. Lego Man and I joined the local bonfire celebration, with the air filled with the smell of burning wood and roasted sausages. Everyone brought snacks and beer, and the atmosphere was lively. However, there was one tradition that surprised me: the burning of a witch. I saw a little boy carrying a straw figure dressed in a red dress with a hat on its head. When the effigy was set ablaze, the crowd cheered. I curiously asked our Viking friend, "Who is that?" The Viking laughed and corrected me, "That's a witch." This tradition dates back to the 16th century, when the church would condemn certain women as witches and burn them at the stake. Although this practice was abolished in 1693, the custom of burning straw witches has survived. Now, burning the witch symbolizes driving away evil. Even though this tradition feels a bit unsettling, Danes take a lighthearted approach to it. They see it as a symbolic way to ward off bad thoughts. All in all, it's a quirky, yet historically rich holiday. By July, Danes put down their work and enjoy 4 weeks of vacation. The entire country seems to hit the pause button, with many choosing to travel abroad. Danes love to experience the vibrant lifestyles of other countries during their holidays, especially the warmth and freedom of Southern Europe, only to return to the orderly life of Denmark afterward. We took this opportunity to visit Sicily. Compared to our usual busy lives, these 2 weeks of vacation felt like pure luxury. At first, it was hard to adjust, but soon we settled into the rhythm of the holiday, savoring the peace that comes with no work and no interruptions. Denmark has one of the highest divorce rates in Europe, with 42.7% of marriages ending in divorce. This is completely normal in Denmark. The country's social welfare system makes women more financially independent, so divorce doesn't bring the same pressure as it might elsewhere. Danish women are active in the workforce, and children are well cared for outside the home, making it easier for couples to choose divorce when things aren't working out. Denmark's sexual culture is also very open. It was the first country to legalize pornography, and public TV channels often air explicit films. Denmark also has one of the highest rates of adult content consumption in Europe. Despite this, Denmark has a very advanced approach to sex education. Danish children start receiving mandatory sex education at the age of 6, which includes biological knowledge and gender equality. This early education fosters a healthy and rational outlook on sexuality. Danish parenting is built on trust and family. Children as young as 6 months old can start attending daycare until they begin school at age 6. Danish parents have a high level of trust in daycare centers. Nurseries take care of children under 3, while children over 3 go to dagpleje or daycare moms. The approach to parenting here emphasizes children's autonomy and self-expression, encouraging them to think independently and explore the world. In Danish schools, the focus isn't just on academic knowledge, but also on social skills, independence, and experiential learning. Schools encourage kids to ask questions, and if they disagree with the teacher, they're free to voice their opinions. Denmark's education system is open to everyone. Both Danes and EU citizens can access it for free. Plus, Denmark's student grant system is very generous, providing financial support to Danish citizens over 18 during their studies. The Danish approach to education emphasizes equality and autonomy, allowing kids to grow up happy and free. While it might seem soft at times, this freedom to grow is incredibly valuable in the long run. However, I've also noticed that Danish parents can be a bit too accommodating, preparing everything for their kids and leaving them without a sense of grit. While I believe children should enjoy their childhood, they also need a bit of challenge and hardship. We spent our wedding anniversary in Copenhagen, soaking up the city's rich cultural atmosphere. We visited the National Museum, the Royal Theatre, and saw the Degas exhibition at the new Carlsberg Glyptotek. We also stopped by the famous Little Mermaid statue, taking a stroll around it while we admired the city's landscape. The Louisiana Museum of Modern Art, located north of Copenhagen, left a deep impression on me. It showcases works by world-renowned artists like Picasso, Giacometti, and Andy Warhol, as well as creations by Danish artists. Here you can really feel the perfect fusion of art and design. Denmark's cultural development has been fueled by strong government support. Adrian Lloyd Hughes, a host at Denmark's public radio station, told me that over the past 30 years, Denmark's art and television industries have benefited from substantial financial backing. This support has led to the flourishing of Danish films and TV shows, like The Killing, Borgen, and The Bridge, which have gained international fame and even been remade in the UK and the US. Denmark's film industry is also thriving, with many well-known directors active on the global stage, such as Lars von Trier and Thomas Vinterberg. Their films often tackle deep social issues, a style that resonates strongly with audiences. Though cinema tickets in Denmark are expensive, thanks to government subsidies, theaters are always full. In recent years, Copenhagen has undergone a culinary revival, becoming a global food hotspot. In 2013, Michelin awarded 15 stars to 13 restaurants in Copenhagen, with Noma being named the world's best restaurant multiple times. Noma's founder, René Redzepi, redefined Danish cuisine through the new Nordic movement, emphasizing local ingredients like fish, berries, and rye bread, healthy and creative. While Noma itself didn't make a fortune, its philosophy has spread to more affordable restaurants and even influenced everyday food shops. Traditional Nordic cuisine is not only delicious but also very healthy. Research has shown that this diet helps reduce harmful cholesterol and lowers the risk of diabetes and high blood pressure. The herring that Danes eat is rich in fatty acids that can help combat depression. Even though Denmark's food scene is on the rise, most Danes still prefer to eat at home. Dining out is expensive, and Danes usually save it for special occasions or birthdays. Family meals are a significant part of Danish life, with Danes often spending an entire day preparing a meal and then sitting together for hours, enjoying homemade food and conversation. Being pregnant in Denmark was a special experience. When I found out I was expecting, I was filled with mixed emotions, excited, but also curious about what the future would hold. I started paying attention to Denmark's child-rearing environment and learned about the high level of trust and freedom in Danish parenting. Danish children are very independent, encouraged from an early age to explore the world and think for themselves. Denmark's healthcare system is incredibly efficient, with all pregnancy checkups and care provided by the state. I had my prenatal checkups with a midwife in Aarhus. She was highly professional, gently pressing on my belly to explain the baby's position. She even told me there was an 80% chance we were having a boy. Denmark's healthcare is not only free, but also highly efficient. Danes have a strong sense of trust in their healthcare system, knowing they can access care whenever they need it. This trust isn't just limited to healthcare. It permeates the entire Danish social system. Denmark is also a leader in medical research, with many groundbreaking treatments and medications originating here. University hospitals are heavily involved in research with full funding support, ensuring that new treatments quickly reach clinical practice. Danish winters are something else: cold, damp, and with very short daylight hours. In November, there are only 44 hours of sunlight, averaging less than an hour and a half per day. This kind of weather forces people to stay indoors, enjoying the warmth of hygge. Danes love lighting candles, baking bread, and drinking hot tea to get through the cold season. During winter breakfasts, we'd light small candles, eat rye bread, and sit in the soft glow of the lights, with the scent of Jo Malone candles filling the air, making the house feel warm and cozy. Hygge culture in Denmark becomes especially important in winter, with candlelight, delicious treats, and the company of loved ones as the best remedies for the cold and darkness. Of course, hygge alone isn't enough to fend off the winter chill. To stay healthy, Danes make sure to eat well, especially foods rich in vitamin D, like sardines, mackerel, and eggs. To prepare for the harsh Danish winter, we even ordered a snowsuit for our soon-to-be-born baby. Though the winter felt long and hard, I tried many ways to cope with the cold: light therapy, vitamin D supplements, outdoor exercise, and even overdoing hygge. But what really struck me was the Danish attitude towards winter. Despite the bitter cold outside, Danes remain optimistic because they know that home is a warm, safe haven. This resilience to winter might just be one of the reasons for their high levels of happiness. In Denmark, taxes are an inevitable part of life. Initially, I found the Danish tax system very confusing. When I received a letter from the tax office, I didn't know how to deal with it. After several mini breakdowns, I finally found a tax officer who spoke English and clearly explained which documents I needed to submit. Denmark's tax year runs from January 1st to December 31st, and everyone is required to pay estimated taxes, even freelancers. The tax rate varies depending on income. Those earning below a certain amount are exempt, while high earners can pay up to 51.7%. In addition, everyone automatically pays an 8% Social Security tax. Even though taxes are high, Danes are happy to pay them. They believe that the taxes they pay are well spent, providing them with the world's best education, healthcare, and social welfare. High taxes have made Denmark one of the countries with the smallest income gap, where everyone enjoys relatively equal living conditions. This trust in the system reduces anxiety and uncertainty. Danes have a strong sense of collective responsibility. They're willing to contribute to the system because they believe in its value. After a year of living in Denmark, I've learned to trust the system too. Trust makes life simpler and cuts out a lot of unnecessary stress. When you believe that your money's being used wisely, paying taxes no longer feels like such a burden. Christmas in Denmark officially begins on the first Friday in November at exactly 8:50 p.m. This day is known as J-Day. It's a celebration of holiday beer and unofficially marks the start of the Danish Christmas season. Breweries send out 500 employees, hauling beer carts through every town across the country, while beer lovers sing a Danish version of Jingle Bells, celebrating the arrival of the season. Danish Christmas beer is hugely popular. Even though it's only sold for 10 weeks each year, it's the fourth best-selling beer in Denmark. This 5.6% beer is a blend of 3 different brews and is said to pair perfectly with smoked fish, herring, pork, and duck, the staples of the Danish Christmas feast. Danes are very particular about their Christmas traditions. Jens told me, "Every year we make the same beer with the same packaging and run the same TV ads because Danes love tradition." During Christmas, Danish towns are decorated with trees, but the style here is a bit different from elsewhere. In Jutland, Christmas trees are often decorated in stripes with quirky shapes, sometimes even resembling pickles. Danes love using nature's gifts for Christmas decorations, and gathering materials from the forest has become a tradition. However, you're only allowed to collect for personal use, and you can't take more than 1 bag. Danish Christmas lunches are also quite special, often lasting 6 to 10 hours. Danes have mastered the art of pacing themselves so that they can enjoy each course over a long, leisurely lunch. At the end of the meal, everyone plays a game called Pakkeleg, a sort of advanced version of musical chairs. Everyone has a beautifully wrapped gift, and they take turns rolling dice for the chance to steal someone else's present. It's not only fun, but also fills the room with holiday cheer. After a year of living in Denmark, I've gathered some insights that might be helpful to anyone looking to live here. These simple tips won't just make life happier, but they'll also help you learn a lot from the Danish way of life. 1. Trust others. The number one reason Danes are so happy is because they have deep trust in others. Trusting the people around them helps them become better and makes life simpler. This sense of trust is the foundation of how Danish society functions. 2. Embrace hygge. Finding joy in life's simple pleasures is important. Light a candle, make yourself a cup of coffee, and nibble on some pastries, and you'll find that life feels warmer and more relaxed. Hygge isn't just about your environment. It's a mindset, a cozy moment shared with family and friends. 3. Get moving. Danes love to stay active, whether it's cycling, running, dancing, or even sex. Exercise not only releases happy endorphins, but also makes you look and feel great. Get your body moving and your mood will follow. 4. Appreciate aesthetics. Danes have a deep love for design and aesthetics. They care about beautifying their environment. This goes beyond public spaces. Home design is a big part of their lives. A beautiful environment can boost happiness and spark creativity. 5. Simplify choices. Sometimes too many choices just add to our stress. Reducing options can make life simpler and easier. Whether it's deciding what to eat, what to wear, or what to do, simplifying your choices frees up more energy to enjoy life. 6. Take pride. Find something you're good at and do it to the best of your ability. Danes are great at celebrating victories, whether it's a football match or a simple game. Learn to take pride in yourself and those around you. This positive attitude builds confidence. 7. Prioritize family. Family is at the heart of Danish life. Visiting relatives, regular holiday gatherings, these are key to happy living. Spending time with your family and friends will give you a greater sense of support and love. 8. Respect all work. In Denmark, there's no such thing as men's work or women's work. All jobs are worthy of respect. Whether you're a homemaker or a corporate executive, everyone's contribution is just as important. Society is built by all these different roles working together. 9. Keep a playful spirit. In Denmark, play isn't just for kids. Adults use play to relax and enjoy life too. Danes are experts at finding joy in Lego and other games. People of all ages see play as something worth investing in. 10. Learn to share. Sharing is not just a part of Danish social culture, it's also a key to happiness. Studies show that generosity makes us happier. Whether it's sharing a slice of cake or inviting your neighbors over for hygge, sharing helps warmth and joy flow freely. After a year of living in Denmark, I've slowly adjusted to the pace of life here and started to understand why Danes are so happy. Danish happiness doesn't just come from high welfare and social security, it's rooted in their understanding of and approach to life. Whether it's trust, simplifying choices, or enjoying hygge moments, Danes face life with a simple and relaxed attitude. The pace of life here is much slower than what I was used to, but it has taught me how to slow down and enjoy each moment. Danes cherish family, respect work, and savor life. They know how to find simple happiness in a complex world. This way of living has not only made me feel more at ease, but also led me to re-examine my own definition of happiness. Trust, sharing, hygge. These are the keys to Danish life, and perhaps they're the very things we overlook in our busy modern lives. Through this year in Denmark, I found more inner peace and contentment. I'm no longer haunted by endless work or anxious about the future. I've learned to trust the system, trust others, and most importantly, trust myself. Over the course of this year, I've seen myself transform from an outsider into someone who's starting to integrate into Danish life. I've gained so much valuable experience from this journey. The Danish way of life might seem simple, but it's full of wisdom. If you too are searching for a happy life, perhaps you can take a page from the Danish book, and you may find that the secret to happiness has been right in front of you all along. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.